Okay, so welcome Christy. Thank you so much for helping out today. I've scheduled the session to run up to an hour, but before we start, I'll explain the purpose of all this. I'm conducting some customer research for RyanAir, and I'm trying to identify issues that could be fixed to make the app easier to use. And to do that, I'm talking to people like you who fly and are within the target market, and based on your feedback, I'm hoping to pinpoint areas for improvement. So regarding the room in front of you, we have in front of you is a microphone on the floor there, and a video camera in front of you, which will record what you do and say. We will also be using a screen recorder in your mobile, which records your interactions with the app. And I'll be asking you questions and may take notes during the session. The footage will be private and only viewable by the staff from the UX Design Institute or viewers of my personal portfolio. The session is divided into 4 parts. First, some broader questions about your experiences when booking flights. Then I'll ask you some general questions. And then I'll ask you to perform several tasks on the RyanAir app. And finally, I'll ask you to perform the same tasks on the Aer Lingus app. Remember, this is a usability test. The focus is on the software, not on you. So there's no right or wrong answers. I'm not trying to catch you out. And if you do find a problem, it's not your fault, it's the fault of the software. You're here to help me find any problems so that we can solve them. So just be as open as possible, talk about anything you feel is silly or awkward. I didn't design the software, so you won't hurt my feelings by being honest. And talk your way through the tasks. Let me know what's going through your head, what you're looking for, and what you think will happen when you click on something. Just think out loud. And also work at a slow pace so I can see clearly what you're doing. And I'll remind you if the pace gets too fast. And feel free to ask me any questions during the tasks, but bear in mind that I might not be able to answer them if it compromises the realism of the tasks. So before we begin, have you any questions for me?
No.
Okay. Right, we'll start off with your occupation. What do you work at?
Administrator.
Okay. And where do you live?
Just Dublin 11.
Dublin 11. And what ways would you access the internet?
Usually through my laptop. Or the phone.
And would that be at home or?
At home. Usually at home.
And would you use it at work at all? Or?
No.
No, just at home. Okay. And do you have? I assume you have broadband at home then.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I take it you have. Well, do you use apps on your smartphone?
Yeah.
And what would be the main apps you would use on your phone?
The main ones would be Sky Sports, Flipboard, Virgin Media. They're the most ones.
Okay.
Or one of the player apps.
Right. And about the travel app usage, what sort of travelling would you do? Is it usually business or pleasure?
Pleasure.
And how frequently would you fly?
Once or twice a year.
Okay. And where would you normally go? Do you have any favourite places or?
The UK.
UK, no. Okay. And would you normally book from home or from work?
Home.
On your phone or your laptop?
It'd be the laptop. I'd book from at home.
And would you have a preference to why it would be the laptop and not your phone, for example?
Usually through the security on the laptop be better than on the phone. The antivirus and that.
Oh, okay. And what websites would you usually use for booking? Would it normally be the airlines themselves, or would it be aggregators like Skyscanner, for example?
No, it'd be the airlines directly.
Airlines directly. And would you have could you explain why you would prefer the airlines?
I just feel like sometimes I'll have a quick look at Skyscanner and there's anything attractive there, but I normally usually just go through the main airlines directly.
Okay.
But I will look more than one to compare the prices.
Right. And could you describe the last time you booked a flight? What was the occasion?
It was going over to a football match for the nephew's 18th over to Liverpool.
Okay. And what would be the most important factor when making that booking?
Usually price and then arrival time. Depends what I'm going over. I'm going over for leisure break. it'd be price. But if it's something like a match where it could be actually the time could be the main priority.
Yeah, good point.
In case it's delayed.
Yeah. So, how many people were travelling with you?
There was 8 of us
8
on the last trip, yeah.
Right. And if you booked for them, what sort of communications would have taken place between you all?
We set up a message group so we could just message everyone all together through the phone to keep the communication open that way rather than making separate ones.
Right. So it wasn't WhatsApp or any of those. It was.
Well, it was WhatsApp and Messenger.
Right. WhatsApp. Was that Facebook Messenger?
Yeah, Facebook Messenger.
Okay. Right.
That was the main one.
And would you have shared screenshots or emails at all? Or
yeah, they were just to give us choices to say which ones would we prefer to get a general consensus.
Okay. And any sort of any screenshots, emails, phone calls? What about phone calls?
Yeah, there was phone calls just for if there was a clarification over anything. That was more to do with the hotel where we're staying rather than the flights.
Right.
The screenshots with the flights were chosen quite quickly.
Okay. Right, we're just about ready now to start our first task, so I'll just brief you in really. For the purposes of the test, we will assume the following: that you live in Cork, and that you're planning a short break to the sun, and you think Faro in Portugal would be a good location, and you wish to fly out on the 23rd of May and return on the 26th, but you're not too constrained by the dates. So, what we want you to do, so let's book a flight from Cork to Faro, departing 23rd of May, returning on the 26th, 3 nights for 2 people. So now let's open up the RyanAir app and get started. Okay, so now you should be on the RyanAir app homepage. So tell me what you see.
I see book a flight, my trips, boarding passes, in-flight products, other things for your trip. So that's the home screen generally, and then there's advertisements.
And as far as the sort of priority on the screen there, what would you say is getting your attention, and what would be?
2 things. Because they're in motion, the advertisements scrolling from right to left on the top, and then book a flight due to the 2 tone colours as in yellow background against blue text.
So for the purposes of book, well, it's pretty obvious really, but what would you be looking for next now if you were going to go ahead with this?
Well, I'd go straight into book a flight and basically search for my options and see what comes up effectively.
Okay, so you can go ahead now and do that. So what are you looking at now after you've pressed that?
Well, there's a nice easy user interface. It's from, to, fly out, fly back, and how many passengers. So it's a nice simple format there.
Okay.
So I'm just going in then to search for my home airport is Cork.
Yeah, just take your time there, and we'll just keep it slow. So try and talk about the things that you see and what you've been looking, what you expect to see. Whenever you're about to click on something, what you would expect to see. Just before you click on it. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Well, the first one from usually they give you an alphabetical of airports, and I can just start typing my airport to find it quite quickly.
Very good. Yeah.
The next drop down is where to. So then once I'll expect to see when I start typing it, it'll predict where I'm looking for.
Yeah.
It'll give me that, so I will try that next.
Okay.
So I have 2 options. I can either scroll and look for the F, but I find it's quicker just to search for the city.
Yeah.
Once you know how to spell it.
It's F-A-R-O.
Or O, Fair in Portugal.
So Cork to Faro.
So that's been so nice and simple so far.
Right.
Now it's
all make nice, easy sense
it is
to you?
Yeah, it is so far so good. Now fly out. This way I'm expecting now when I put in see what options come up.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what to expect here in the sense that what options it may give me. So I'll select. So I'm looking to fly out on the 23rd.
Yeah, the 23rd of May. and try and talk about what you see on screen as you as you're.
Well, I have a calendar, and previously, like using RyanAir, some dates are shaded that I can't get them, so I can see now that the dates I can get, lucky enough, the 23rd, the option is there, and the return on the 26th is there as well, because I found previous experience it may be a non-runner,
right?
Depending if I'm flexible or.
Yeah.
So when I press the 23rd, the next thing it's showing me then is flyback select date, so it's nice and simple to follow there. So I'll select the 26th to fly back. Then the next thing that comes up down the bottom to prompt me is continue.
Right.
So I'm finding it very easy to use.
Mm-hmm.
Now it hasn't given me the times yet. It's asked me for many passengers, so that's my next option. So there's 2 adults. Yeah. So I have a plus sign, so I can change the 2, and then it's either cancel or done. Mm-hmm. So I'm done. So let's go then is on my screen.
Okay. So you can go ahead and press that.
Now
so the next page you come to there
is the options.
What you see there.
Yeah, it's giving me the options. I was hoping for more than one. It's only giving me one, which can be a bit disappointing. And what it's showing me the flight, details and the price. Now there is an option for compare fares, mm-hmm. which I will try. So standard lowest fare to check in. Now I can add different bits on a 60-day check-in, etc. Flexi mm-hmm. Plus. To be honest, I wouldn't have used these before. Generally I'll go because I'm price conscious.
Yeah, so you'd always go with the economy.
Yeah.
Flight. Yeah.
Generally I would.
Right. And is there anything on the screen that you wouldn't be sure what it does? Any sort of confusing iconography or anything that's.
Well, going into compare fares, it's quite detailed. Right. So lowest fare to check in plus. So it's just saying, okay, I got it, but it's not giving me options when I press them. Yeah. So that's confusing why it's advertising it, because it's not giving me any options. Right. It's giving me information, but I'm not sure how to do the 60-day check-in. Yeah. So it's popped up, but I don't know why at this stage.
Okay.
So I'm presuming that's maybe on a follow-up screen.
Yeah.
But it does say, okay, got it, terms and conditions. So if I press up, it goes back to my original screen that I was last in, giving me the basic flight details, when I'm flying out, when I arrive, and the price, which is nice and simple. It's the information. But with the compare fares, I'm not sure, maybe because there's no other option, maybe that's why when I went into the screen, it didn't give me it, like.
Okay. Okay, so you can close out of that now. And so overall, what do you think of that experience as far as using the app?
I found it, up until that point, I found it very easy.
Yeah.
It's like it'll prompt you what's next and to follow. So it's a quick, easy experience up until that point.
Yeah. And was there anything in particular that you liked or disliked about the process? Well,
I liked the initial simple user interface, that book a flight, go in, the stages. It was like A leads to B leads to C. It was only up until the point of compare fares. That's where I got confused. I'm only thinking then there was no other options. That's why when I did tap them, that they weren't live, that they didn't go onto another screen.
Right. Okay. Was there anything there that you were surprised to see?
No, but in the initial home screen, even though like Book a Flight stands out, it's very, on the phone it's quite cluttered looking, I find.
Right.
Now it is simple, the view and that, it's just, I suppose, it gives you everything you want, your tickets, your car hire, your hotels, it's all their add-ons.
Yeah.
But in saying that though, the screen initially is, it's simple, but it's cluttered.
Right. Okay, well thank you for that. So now we can move on to the other app now, the Aer Lingus app. Okay, so we're on the Aer Lingus homepage. So for the purpose of this test, we'll assume the following, that you want to take the same trip but fly from Dublin. And again, you want to fly out on the 23rd of May and return on the 26th of May, but you're not constrained by those dates if they don't have them. So you want to, first of all, maybe talk about what you see on the homepage and what you think of that.
The homepage on Aer Lingus, it's nice and simple. You have a welcome, I have the check-in, boarding pass, my trips, flight status, but also down the bottom, standing out against a white background, is book a flight. So I find this compared to the other one, RyanAir, I think it's not as cluttered, and you have your menu button on the top left, home, book a flight, suggested improvements, which is a nice touch, and I find that quite easy to navigate there. It's login as well. I can log in with my account. Then if I'm already booked, I have to check in. I have my boarding pass, so it's really simplified and stripped back. And I have book a flight, and I'm finding it very easy to look at the white background and then simplified ad. And even down the bottom, which I like, book a flight, it's there by itself. Okay. So I really like what I'm seeing there.
Right. So you can go ahead now and just go what you would do next. And obviously, it's
going to book my flight.
So
what I like about this, it gives you the heading, book a flight, return. It's highlighted straight away rather than one way from my destination, Dublin. So that's already pre-chosen for me there. 2, it's giving me the options of A to Z of airports, or if not, I can start to type. And then once FAR, it's giving me 2 options, Fargo, the United States, or Faro, the Algarve, so which I press here.
Okay.
Next down, nice simplified screen again. It's giving me the passengers, the little plus sign. Okay. And it's giving me the adults, young adults, children, infants.
Is it all nice and easy to?
It's very easy.
Yeah.
We have a nice little box like that again, very similar to the other one. It's for the adults, it's assuming it's one adult, so I can just hit plus to 2. Then if there's any other people following, then I'm going from 0 people up, and it's done. Very simple to use, very clean looking.
Yeah.
So I choose.
As a comparison with RyanAir, then you'd say that's.
This book of flight is quite similar. It was fairly stripped back in the RyanAir as well. It's just initial screen. I prefer the Aer Lingus because I can add on hotels and want. It's not all pushed on me, the advertisement, which the nature of the business like. So my next option there is I can choose my dates. And what I like about this save searches, there's a little dialogue box down the bottom left saying, did you know you can save your searches next to me here later? That's a nice little touch. Right. Rather than me scrolling through again and going through the whole process. So I can do that then, and I can just tap it into it again. So my next option then would be to choose my dates I'm travelling.
Okay.
So May.
It's 23rd of May.
23rd of May, and the whole it seems to be a bit more flexibility here with Aer Lingus over RyanAir, as in looks like all the dates could be available. My initial thoughts are.
Yeah.
So if I choose the 23rd, then it says next option up the top. I suppose with this one it says, select a return date. It's just up the top, but you'd have to look back up. Yeah. Where I found RyanAir, the way they suggested it was quicker to visualise, where this I would have to look for it. It comes up the back quite neutral, which RyanAir, I thought was a bit more simplified the way they did it to follow.
Better contrast or something?
Better contrast, and it's just where it popped up. I think it wasn't just up the top. Where here now there's not much on the screen, so I will see it. But I found RyanAir, it was more like, it was like kiddie proof, idiot proof, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It was more visual. Where this I've to read the writing up the top. Yeah. There's not a highlighted background on it to change contrast and say, oh, now this is what I have to do next. So after I've chosen my date, down the bottom, continue comes up after done it, which is nice. Once I hit my return date, so that's fine.
So it seems obvious enough to you.
It does. So
So after you press on the continue, what do you see?
Now, it's giving me options. What I like in the top, it's saying, to remind me it's Dublin, the Fargo, the Algarve. It's giving me my date I'm travelling out. It's giving me the fare. Now I have different times and have different options. So say for the first time in the morning, it's saying 7:40 in the morning to arrive. So that's nice and simple. It's giving me then the saver, the plus, the advantage. Now if one doesn't know what they are, you press into it and see. Also as well, it's giving me one,
So
two, three.
if you were to press on one of those options, then what would you expect to see if you clicked on it? Would you expect to see information about that includes? You know, if you're going for a higher price, or would you expect it would just select that price? You know what I mean?
I'd expect, and I'd hope, what I would expect is it's going to tell me why, what advantages.
Yeah.
For example, like after saver is the economy one. The plus, I'm hoping to see maybe it's a faster check-in or the bag check-in, and then the advantage. So I would want to see why.
Yeah.
But what I like about
If
it,
you go ahead and click on that, you know, go for it.
I'll go for the next one
Yeah.
up. What I would is the price isn't too dear, and it might be something I haven't thought of.
Yeah.
So I'll check the plus.
But we're not actually going to purchase it, so you can you can go for a pricier one.
Now, it hasn't given me the information as of yet. It's jumped straight to return.
Right.
So I'm going to choose the plus again.
Yeah.
Now there is a compare fares down the bottom. I'll press it to see what it gives me. Now this is where it goes, fare benefits.
Okay.
It's not giving me the prices, but it tells me what the saver is,
Yeah.
what the plus is, what advantage. So ideally I should have done that before
Okay.
I chose. So I'd have to go back.
Would you find that a little bit of a pain point, really?
No, it'll give me the option to go back, which it does, but it doesn't tell you to press compare fares first.
Yeah.
Whereas maybe if that had been up, it's down at the bottom of the screen, where if it had been up in the sequence I was looking at stuff, I would have liked it maybe then, look, choose compare fares for information or something. Where it didn't, I was literally going in, saver plus advantage, I'm not sure what they are. I didn't know you have to press compare fare types.
Right. Okay.
On hindsight, it's self-explanatory, but maybe if it wasn't down the bottom and was more up the top, I could press fare type, see what saver plus advantage was, and then see them underneath.
Yeah, so you think maybe the information could be arranged a little bit?
Yeah,
nice.
Because instinct, now it is, the good thing about it is, it's highlighted, it is quite prominent on the bottom. Yeah. Maybe if it's up the top, I press it, oh, that's what saver means, that's a plus, that's what advantage is. Then they're underneath then to start, okay, I can see the prices. Mm-hmm. But what I do like about it is it's still giving me the different prices. They're in little tiles, mm-hmm. which is easy for that.
Yeah.
But initially, compare fare types, if it was up the top, I think I would have pressed it and then had a look. Mm-hmm. What's neat. So well laid out. It's not cluttered, even though there is information. They're in tiles, but then they're up in horizontally. The information goes from left to right, and then it's stepped down 3 tiers. So I do like it. It's very simple.
Mm-hmm. So overall, then, what would you think of the experience of using the Aer Lingus app?
I find it very easy to use. It's only a minor thing with the compare fare types. I should have pressed that to understand the information. But look, I can go back straight away. So it's a very pleasant experience. It hasn't added to my time using it too much.
So the compare fares, would that be the only thing you disliked about the process, really?
Yeah, and it wouldn't be a big dislike because I was able to tap into it. Oh, that's what that means. I could go back then and say, right, I could go back to choose saver. I could go back even to choose a dearer one. So it's a very easy user interface.
Okay, and finally, is there anything you were surprised to see in it?
No, it was streamlined. A leads to B leads to C, like a cumulative process for better words. No, there was nothing surprised. Actually, what I was surprised, probably like the other, that not a lot of other stuff was pushed down my throat on the first screen.
Yeah,
it was less cluttered. So that's probably a surprise that they haven't done that rather than that they did do it. So no, it's a nice, easy experience. no problems with it at all.
Okay, that's good. And right, that wraps up our usability test session. So thank you so much for your time and your insights.
No problem, thank you.